listening to the Horror Shots Podcast.
Hello again and welcome to another Horror Shots Podcast with me, Casey. Now this podcast is, as usual, brought to you by morbidlybeautiful.com. Go check them out. They've got a bunch of great stuff. They've just started some new podcasts going on there as well, so check out everything they have this week, last week, anything you may have missed, and keep an eye on stuff for the future. That's morbidlybeautiful.com. Now, of course, I have to get some of my own housekeeping stuff out of the way, so that brings me to ways you can contact me. Isn't that fun? You can hit me up on email at horrorshotspodcast@gmail.com, through my website at horrorshots.com, Instagram at horrorshotsphotography, and Twitter at horrorshotspod, or even my personal account on there at poddypodguy. I know, really clever, isn't it? I do want to share some other news with you. If you have been following stuff on social media lately, then you will know that I am going to start a Let's Play channel on YouTube. You've probably seen them before, where usually one, maybe two guys are just goofing off playing video games so other people can watch on YouTube. Nothing crazy, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to play nothing but horror games. I'm going to take recommendations, and I'm going to start with some indie games at the beginning, just because they need some shout-outs and some love too. So if anything I play you want to play, go support the indie developers. Most of the stuff is going to be off of Steam, so it's going to be very, very accessible to you. I will drop the YouTube link in the description, so be sure to subscribe to that as well as the podcast. Speaking of that, the podcast does go up there every week as well on Fridays, unless it's delayed for whatever reason, but generally it goes up the same day that I release this. So if you're more of a YouTube person, then there you go. You can catch all of Season 3 on YouTube. Lastly, if you could leave a review, that would be beyond helpful. Every review counts, and it helps me get noticed in the big bad world of podcasting, which is filled with tons and tons and tons of other podcasts. So if you like the Horror Shots podcast, support it, leaving a review is the best thing you can do. And starting today, if you do leave a review, I will put your name into a draw to win a free print. So I used to do photography prints, and I still have some. So they're limited edition, and I will send you one. They are 11 by 17, or 17 by 11, 17 inches tall, 11 wide. And there are various things, so I will let you pick which one you like, and I'll send it to you. Free, nothing. All you have to do is leave a review. Leave a review, I will get in contact with you some way, shape, or form, and we will discuss the details. But on to the cast itself today. Now I'm going to delve into the history of demons again. It's been a while since I've done a history of demons cast, and they usually go over pretty well. I think everybody likes them. I like doing them. They're pretty fun, interesting, and very concise. Not a whole lot of fluff goes into the history of demons episodes. So with that said, I wanted to honor the movie Midsommar. Now, why would you think demons have anything to do with that? I haven't seen the movie, but I know the director did direct Hereditary. And in Hereditary, there is a demon called Paimon. Now, who's Paimon? Well, it's a very good question. Why was he featured so prominently in a movie when nobody's ever really heard of him? He wasn't Lucifer, he's not the devil, he's not Satan, or any of the creatures or demons that make up who Satan is. But he is a very powerful and important demon. And as the Dictionary of Demons does say, the book written by Michelle Bellinger, it does have Paimon as such. A demon of the Order of Dominions. Paimon is also believed to be one of the 4 demons who preside over the cardinal directions. His domain is the West. In the Gosha, Paimon is listed as the 9th of 72 demons. According to this text, when Paimon is summoned, he is preceded by a host of spirits in the form of men playing trumpets, cymbals, and diverse other musical instruments. If this were not enough to herald his appearance, Paimon himself is said to manifest with a mighty roar of his booming voice. He comes astride a camel, and he appears as a man bearing a glorious crown upon his head. Wierce's Pseudo-Demonicaria Demonimum further says that he has a very effeminate face, while Plancy's Dictionnaire Infernal describes him as a man with a woman's face. All sources suggest that, of the various Gothic demons, Paimon has some of the strongest loyalties to Lucifer. Paimon's voice is unnaturally loud, and he will continue to speak at such an ear-splitting volume that the summoner will not be able to understand him unless he commands the demon to alter his speech. When called up, Paimon can teach knowledge of the arts as well as the sciences. He can also reveal the true answers to such mysteries as the nature of Earth, the location of the abyss, and the origin of wind. In addition to being a veritable font of knowledge, Paimon is credited with the ability to confer dignities. He provides familiar spirits and can be sent against enemies. He reportedly binds any that resist him to his own chains. His abode is said to be in the northwest, where he rules with no fewer than 200 legions of spirits. Some of these are from the Order of the Angels, and some are from the Order of Powers. Paimon himself is said to belong either to the Order of Dominions or the Order of the Cherubim. He responds favorably to consecrations and libations. In his Discovery of Witchcraft, Scott translates the Latin word for libations instead as sacrifices, lending a somewhat nefarious air to the operations involving Paimon. Paimon sometimes manifests in the company of two lesser infernal kings. In the Pseudo-Demonicarium Daemonum, these are named Bibal and Ablam. In the Gosha, they are called Labal and Abalai. When he manifests with these two kings, Paimon only brings along 25 legions of lesser spirits, at least according to the Pseudo-Demonicaria. In this text, his name is spelt Paymon as opposed to the traditional Paimon. Paimon also appears as the ninth demon named in the Gosha of Dr. Rudd. Here he is accorded the rank of king, and he is said to rule over 25 legions of spirits. This text associates him with the Order of Powers. The angel Hyssel has the power to constrain him. Paimon also appears in the sacred magic of Abramelin the Mage. Here he is one of the 8 sub-princes who oversees all of the spirits summoned on the 3rd day of the Holy Guardian Angel operation. He's attributed with the power to cause visions, raise the dead, give familiars, and summon spirits in diverse forms. He can answer further questions about the past, present, or future, and he can make the magician fly. According to both Mathers and Agrippa, Paimon is equated with the fallen angel Azazel in rabbinical lore. That's what the Dictionary of Demons had to offer. But what about those texts that were mentioned in there, like the Pseudo-Demonicaria Daemonum? Well, what do they have to say? Well, I did find those actual excerpts from those writings about Paimon himself. So this one is from the Pseudo-Demonicaria Daemonum. Paimon is more obedient in Lucifer than other kings are. Lucifer is here to be understood that he was drowned in the depths of his knowledge. He would needs be like God, and for his arrogance was thrown into destruction, of whom it is said, "Every precious stone is thy covering." Paimon is constrained by divine virtue to stand before the exorcist, where he putteth on the likeness of a man. He sitteth on a beast called a dromedary, which is a swift runner, and weareth a glorious crown, and hath the effeminate countenances. There goeth before him a host of men with trumpets, and well-sounding cymbals, and all musical instruments. At the first he appeareth with a great cry and roaring, as in Circulo Salmonis, and in the arts is declared. And if this Paimon speak sometimes that the conjurer understand him not, let him not therefore be dismayed. But when he hath delivered him the first obligation to observe his desire, he must bid him also answer him distinctile and planile to the questions he shall ask you, of all philosophy, wisdom, and science, and of all other secret things. And if you will know the disposition of the world, and what the earth is, or what holdeth it up in the water, or any other thing, or what is abyss, or where the wind is, or from whence it cometh, he will teach you abundantly. Consecrations also, as well of sacrifices, as otherwise may be reckoned. He giveth dignities and confirmations. He bindeth them that resist him in his own chains, and subtracteth them to the conjurer. He prepareth good familiars, and hath an understanding of all arts. So that is from the Pseudo-Demonicaria Daemonum. Next, we do have a short excerpt from the Gosha. It goes as such. The ninth spirit in this order of Paimon, a great king and very obedient unto Lucifer, He appears in the form of a man sitting upon a dromedary with a crown most glorious upon his head. There goeth before him also a host of spirits, like men with trumpets and the sounding of cymbals, and all other sorts of musical instruments. He hath a great voice, and roareth at his first coming, and his speech is such that the magician cannot well understand unless he can compel him. This spirit can teach all arts and sciences, and other secret things. He can discover unto thee what the earth is, and what holdeth it up in the waters, and what mind is, and where it is, or any other thing thou mayest interest you. He giveth dignity and confirmation, the same. He bindeth or mistaketh any man subject unto the magician if he so desire it. He giveth good familiars, and such can teach all arts. He is to be observed towards the west. He is of the order of dominations. He hath under him 200 legions of spirits, and part of them are of the order of angels, and the other part potentates. Now, if thou callest the spirit Paimon alone, thou must make him some offering, and there will attend him 2 kings called Labal and Abali, and also other spirits who be of the order of the potentates in his host, and 25 legions. And those spirits which be subject unto them are not always with them unless the magician do compel them. His character is this which must be born as a layman before thee. So that's a bunch of old-timey words, essentially, which is why I struggled through it. The grammar isn't quite the same as it is today, but that's beside the point. The point is that Paimon is a very powerful demon who holds a lot of pull, power, and legions at his disposal. He's a master of knowledge and will share that freely with anybody who summons him. But if Hereditary is correct in the way that he kind of shows himself, there's a lot of death and destruction that follows or precedes his summoning. All in all, I think he's a very interesting topic, and the fact that he has been featured somewhat prominently in mainstream media kind of shows that maybe he's given Lucifer a little bit of a push for the top spot. Probably not. Most people will know the name Lucifer over the name Paimon, but you never know. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the cast, be sure to check out my YouTube channel for some new updates and subscribe there and some fun gameplay. I don't do horror games well. I do like them, but I don't like playing them. There's a fine line for what I like to do with these horror games, and I do jump very easily at jump scares. So I'm hoping the first episode will go out on Monday. I have it all recorded and I have everything good to go. But we'll see if I decide to hold off on the release of that just a little bit. If not, check out the channel regardless. Link in the description, subscribe there so you will see when I do post that first video. So until next week.